example, if you're going to, this has been an extreme example, but Harvard Law, most of the people there didn't come from Harvard. They came from Ohio State University, Miami University, Yale, Princeton, all these other places.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, they're coming from elsewhere. There will be a few coming from Harvard undergrad into Harvard Law, but
Do you think if you wanted to go to a graduate school at Berkeley, it'd be at your advantage to take bachelor's or undergraduate
Somewhere
classes
else?
somewhere else?
that's a good question. From what I hear, it shouldn't matter either way. So, you know, sometimes we have folks here that want to go to law school here, and they're undergrads. And for a while, there was this kind of myth that, oh, if you want to go to law school here, you shouldn't be an undergrad because they don't favor undergrads. Well, now, having talked to like the dean of admissions at the law school, they say no. It doesn't matter where you're from, it matters what's on your application. You know, what your letters say, what your personal statement says, what your LSAT is, what your GPA is. So they're not really prejudicing themselves against your undergrad. That's what they say. Although I've also heard that if you're coming from an undergrad school that has a reputation for having being really competitive, then they're going to take that in consideration when they're comparing you necessarily to someone else, right? They'll say, well, this 3.5 GPA from Cal might be about the same as a 4.0 from somewhere else because of the level of competitiveness. So I think they kind of keep that in their mind a little bit. All right. So whether it's grad school or maybe it's getting a job, what we do for you is, and with you, is to sit down and just figure out, okay, what's the timeline of all of this? What should I be doing when? One thing that surprises some people is that even in the fall, if you're looking for a job as a senior, you should actually start looking in the fall of senior year. You don't wait until necessarily March or April of senior year. Employers, big employers, especially in business, start recruiting for jobs in the fall. And by the time like January or February comes, they've got it all worked out, right? They're not hiring anymore for the following fall. They've already got their people. So that's something to know, and that's pretty common. It's not just at Cal. So if you're going towards business, that's something that you should know when you get into wherever it is you're going. I need to be on top of when the recruiting happens for business, because it's usually much earlier in the year than I would expect. It's usually in fall of senior year. Same with internships, often fall of junior year, for that summer in between. So that's sort of one of the bigger challenges, I would say, for transfers coming in, is that not only do you get to orient yourself to a whole new place and environment and way of doing things and your classes and finding your way around campus, you also have to start thinking about your career stuff pretty quickly. You know, not necessarily applying, but just finding out what the timelines are. I would say no matter where you are, go to the Career Center and talk to someone to develop something like this, so you kind of know as you go through what you need to be focusing on in relation to your career. Because if you wait until that final semester, a lot of opportunities may have passed already. That's my biggest piece of advice to you folks that are going into a...
What's Callisto?
Callisto is, I don't know if College of Marin has this or not, you probably do. Do you have like a job, an internal job posting that's really available to students only? You kind of have to go into a lot of...
our online job board.
Your online job board, yeah. So that's what Callisto is here, that's what we call it. Employers come to us, a lot of them are like alum, they say, hey, go Bears, I want to hire a Cal alum, you know. So they come to us and they post their job. So the only folks that can access those jobs or internships are current students or alum. You have your little password and all of that. We have about 6,000 to 7,000 posted on there at any one time, so it's a pretty rich resource and probably the first stop for people that are looking for jobs and internships. Yes?
Is this the same place with all the resources for work study jobs and programs?